The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, January 9th, 2018, season 14, episode number 110. Welcome to another edition of
110?
110.
Wow.
110.
That's
We're
amazing.
moving along here, and we got a lot more shows to go because next week we'll be doing shows heading into the championship game, and then we'll have 2 weeks of shows heading into the Super Bowl. So it's just, there's a lot.
Good picks right here.
There's a lot to do here.
I'm the one that says superstitions aren't real, and you clearly believe that too.
Yeah,
All right,
I guess. Well,
a whole bunch
what does that
of
have to do
people.
with superstition.
You putting the mouth on it?
No.
No. Stop. Seriously?
I didn't do it. I'm laughing.
No.
Turn her mic off.
That's what.
I'm not the one saying
That's what
stuff.
people say when you bring up that the pitcher's saying. You're like, oh, he's throwing a no hitter. You're like, great. You put the mouth on it. He's gonna freaking.
I've never heard that.
I don't.
You've never heard that before.
Now, I don't watch baseball, so maybe
it's just another way of saying you spoke it into existence.
They don't say that with kickers because I've heard that about kickers too. When like as soon as they say he hasn't missed an extra point all season, it's like, oh, there we go, here we go.
It applies there.
But I've never heard that term. I guess.
Yeah,
it's a term. I promise.
All right, good.
I
I'm
haven't
gonna look
heard
it
it
up.
either. Not in sports.
It's a term. I promise.
All right, let's get back on the rails here. Let's talk about.
No,
some
why
football here.
start now? Why?
This is a show that's made about being off the rails.
It's just the biggest game of the year and the game the Cowboys haven't won in 20 years. What could we possibly want to talk about?
All right, well, where we need to start is with injuries, and I don't even want to start with the
Hey,
guys
by the way, real quick, someone gave us a shout out at our show yesterday because apparently Talking Cowboys was doing a whole bunch of college football talking.
Yeah,
not talking about this game.
Those
and
guys
we did a good job.
Those guys just talk about whatever they want to talk about. Maybe we should follow their lead.
I don't think people are going to like.
All right, so like we're being like them right now.
Let's jump back into.
Let's go back to injuries.
I don't want to start with the guys that missed. I want to start with the guy that did practice, Dak Prescott, because as soon as you see his name pop on an injury report, and then you hear reports that he has a sprained knee, obviously everyone's alert goes up because of just how much he means to this team, this offense. Talk to me about kind of what you've heard so far, and if you're completely buying that this is no problem whatsoever, a knee sprain with your quarterback.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you're right. You're right to be suspicious. Teams like to keep stuff under wraps, but like he's out there, he's 10 feet away, jogging around, looking fine.
And he was full.
He was full.
He definitely was full. And
you can go watch. I mean, it's a great play, but he took a Seahawks helmet to his upper knee when he tried to dive into the end zone on that 16-yard
kind of reminds me of what happened to Carson Wentz last year to put him out of the playoffs, right? I mean, put him out for the rest of the season.
He practiced. I mean,
I get that, and I'm not saying that he's hurt. What I'm saying is, what I'm really looking for is for you guys to reassure fans out there, because as soon as you hear the quarterback has a knee sprain,
he's fine.
There you go.
He's
good. Thank you.
50 feet away, like doing running back drills where he's got the ball in the crook of his arm running up and down the field.
That cartwheel he
fine.
did this morning, unbelievable. The backflip and the cartwell.
You always catch that kind of stuff. There's not going to get any of that by you. Dancing, cartwheels.
Not
kidding, but
I wouldn't dream of making this a Romo Dak debate, but like that's a selling point on Dak Prescott. He takes those types of hits all the time, and he's
built
usually
for it.
fine. He is built for it, and he's out there. Yep. He was full yesterday. I expect him to be full today.
Good.
I don't think this is a problem at all.
Good. That's perfect.
I was waiting for Joe Looney to pop in the injury report yesterday because the way he was dancing at the beginning of practice, like moving his neck, I'm like, he's going to hurt his neck. He was doing some serious dance move out there. Just, what do you call this move? Like bobbing his neck?
That's actually a good idea. You know what we need to
Looney.
do? We may need to get a camera that just goes out to practice and just gets footage of guys dancing at practice and put it all together in one big
It would be pretty
montage.
awesome.
It would be pretty good.
I tried to take a video of Tavon dancing just to show you what it was, and I thought I was going to get tackled by our PR.
No, with cell phone videos prohibited. But
I didn't say cell phone.
which you didn't let me finish.
All right.
He
Can't do it.
can't do it. But yeah, if we sent Kent or William out there with a real camera, there's nothing they could do to stop us.
There you go. And I think that might be an idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then they lose the game, and they're like, "Why did they lose?" And it's like, Here's a shot at Looney. Here's a shot at Tavon. Here's
That's
a shot
happening.
At Dave.
Just by the way, that's happening at every NFL practice.
true.
That's what they do. All right, so let's talk about some of the guys that did not practice. Cole Beasley, Noah Brown, Malik Collins, Blake Jarwin, David Irving. Didn't practice yesterday. Which of those, I guess, are concerning or should not be concerning?
Malik's back, so that's not super concerning.
It was an ankle and an illness.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's back. Noah Brown is also back. He was sick, so, he's okay.
Good.
Beasley and Jarwin are still missing. Jason Garrett has, and going back to skepticism, he has said multiple times this week that they're optimistic about those guys, but we'll see. Not practicing on Thursday, particularly for Jarwin, who's still a young player. It's not a super great sign, which is interesting because Swaim's already on IR. We sort of prodded at Garrett about that in the walk-off today. We're like, well, you only have 2 tight ends if Jarwin can't play, and he just kind of smiled his Garrett smile, like, you got to make do at this time of year, type of deal.
Jarwin's playing.
Yeah. No, I mean,
In other words,
Because
Good bet.
that's a good question. I mean, that's what they're asking. Like, how bad is this? And that's one of those backdoor questions that you're like trying to see what's the situation here.
is there a tight end on the practice squad right now?
no.
No,
So essentially, like they have no real backup options that even know the offense to be able to play in the event they got in that situation.
If Jarwin couldn't play, like the closest thing to a backup would probably be Noah Brown, which, for all of the, people like move him to tight end, he weighs 220 pounds.
Here we go, 10 personnel.
And hey, if that's
I ain't mad.
if that's
but
what it takes.
yeah, that might be your best option now. Of course, it would help if you had Hearns and Beasley, but
It's something to watch. It's always concerning when a young guy's not practicing on Thursday. I know it's Wednesday, but it's really Thursday.
well, let's get to Beasley.
all right, talk to me about Beasley.
I don't think he's in the same category as Hearns. Like
No.
you said.
What? No, I wasn't putting in the
know,
same
I
category.
know.
I'm saying Hearns is out and Beasley we don't know. It'd be nice if you're going to run a lot of 10 personnel if you had one or both of those guys for sure, right?
What did he say about Beasley today?
He's not practicing. Like he said, they feel optimistic that both of those guys are going to come around. That's what he said.
Okay.
It's up to you to decide how much you trust that. Although, I mean, Beasley's kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't think I trust Tavon Austin. We talked about this yesterday. I don't think I trust Tavon Austin to assume that whole role. And then
Really?
your next best bet is probably Lance Lenoir, who is now on the 53 or will be by the end of the week if he's not officially yet.
The one thing you can say about Beasley is he's a tough guy, and he's had this injury. Like, he went into the game last week, he wasn't completely healthy. I mean, he's been playing here for the last few weeks, kind of banged up. So he is a warrior. He'll get out there and play even when he's not 100%.
He had the foot sprain before he had the ankle sprain, and Garrett said it's the ankle that's bothering him more so than the foot right now. So he's dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably, I don't know, but I mean, Jarwin's injury is not as severe, but he's a younger, less experienced player, whereas Beasley's, Beasley's getting up there. This is like his 8th year, 7th year.
Been around for a minute.
Yeah.
I think he's played the second most games on the team right now.
Damn.
It's
Behind
either
LP?
behind LP. It's either
Oh, but
him-
Sean hasn't played all the games.
Oh yeah,
Sean would be up there, I would think.
It'd be
just
Sean. Yeah,
years.
Sean, and then I think it's Chris Jones and Beasley, and it was
Wow.
Terrence, but Terrence hasn't played this year. Terrence Williams.
Number 83.
He is still officially on their roster. Just
he's on IR.
Yeah.
IR.
I forget about that. I do.
I think he'll be released in the offseason and save some money for this team.
Yeah.
He'll be
All right.
one of many.
There was a list of guys that were limited in practice. Tell me if any of these are guys that should be of concern. Tavon Austin, Tyrone Crawford, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Xavier Suafilo, and Darian Thompson. Which of those is an issue, and where are we sitting with specifically with Suafilo, who didn't play last week?
My rule for a guy that played the last game is that if you start the week practicing,
Limited?
I assume you're good to go.
Good.
Even if it's limited.
Okay.
If you played in the game and then you're back practicing by Wednesday, I assume you're good.
Okay.
Xavier
Suafilo did not.
Yeah, Xavier's the question mark. We'll see if he ups his participation today. It's always a good sign when a guy is practicing to start the week, even if it's in a limited fashion. So
Correct me if I'm wrong. Last week he didn't practice at all.
no,
right? So this is a step
not a
ahead.
rep.
This is
Yeah.
This is a step forward.
it is a step in the right direction. So we'll see, and that's
I asked him after the game. I'm like, "How are you feeling? How's your ankle. And he's like, we won the game. I'm like, no, I know. But how are you feeling? How are you doing? He's like, we won the game. I'm just smiling because we won the game. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just wait for later in the week then.
Is that English conversation?
Yeah, it was in English. Well, I don't remember. It could be in Spanish, probably.
I mean, he speaks Spanish, right?
Yeah, he does.
Like the only guy on the team.
But he wouldn't give me any info. He was just
That might tell you all you need to know about that. Because if you're great, you're like, man, I'm great. I'm good.
Feels like crap, probably.
Probably.
Probably ain't feeling great.
We won the game. Usually when that's the answer, we won the game. Something weird happened, or like we were up 28-0, we won 28-27, or something like that. Like we won the game.
He was happy though.
Yeah.
But who knows?
We talked about the same thing as like Gimpy, Suafilo, or 100% Connor Williams, and these D tackles are better than last week's.
Yeah,
so
no
we'll see.
Better
All right.
than every week.
Yeah.
We're going to take our first break. When we come back, Dave's going to get us going with his scouting report on this Rams defense, talking about that defensive line. Tell us a little bit about them. And I want to talk a lot about that secondary because that's a secondary they thought they upgraded coming into the year. I don't know if they've played in that way. We'll talk about that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right. News and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking Cowboys versus Rams. That'll be the big playoff game this Saturday night. Cowboys. That kickoff will be at 7:15 Central Time for you guys. In our time zone, we'll be out in California. It'll be 5:15 there. So, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about this Rams defense. We talked about the offense yesterday. Talk to me about the defense.
I think you kind of have alluded to it throughout the week, which is true, is like this thing, and I think the Rams defense is better than it gets credit for, but it is a murderer's row in terms of the talent on hand, and the production statistically says it's not as good as you would expect, because you got Pro Bowl corners in Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. You got a safety in LaMarcus Joyner, who I believe, I was trying to look this up during the break, I forgot to last night. He's one of like 5 players that got put on the franchise tag this year. Maybe less than, Joyner, Ziggy Ansah, Tank, obviously, Kyle Fuller. I mean, they liked him enough to pay him top 10% at his position to keep him there. So you got Pro Bowler caliber players all over the secondary, and then the defensive line. You got
That's just embarrassing.
It is an
riches,
embarrassment of riches. You got a top 5 pick in Ndamukong Suh. You got a top 15. Where was Donald drafted? Like, was he 14? It doesn't matter.
He's the best defensive player in the NFL.
He might be the best player in the NFL.
Maybe.
He's certainly the best non-quarterback in the NFL. Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, Mike Brockers, who was a top 15 pick. He could have been a Cowboy in another universe. Dante Fowler has absolutely not lived up to his draft pedigree, but he's still a top 10 pick. Even oddly enough, Mark Barron, who's playing, so he's playing inside linebacker in a 3-4 Wade Phillips scheme. He was a top 10 pick as a safety not too long ago. So the talent is gross. I mean, there's a lot of it. I think I'm missing somebody.
It would have to be a outside linebacker, I would assume.
Don't worry about it.
Just remember how good Wade Phillips' defenses were without guys like that. I mean, he had Ware, but I mean that was about it. He's got like 3 of those guys.
He had some highly picked talent on that team too. I mean, he had Spears, right? He had some other guys that were.
Look at Nick. Nick is like, sure.
Spears was top 20.
He was a top 20 pick.
He didn't live up to those expectations.
Okay, that's Fowler then.
But Fowler's the 3rd overall pick. You know, I mean, like, I'm just saying he didn't.
No, he's a good coordinator. He's a really good coordinator.
He is. He hasn't had that kind of talent.
Yeah.
If anyone can get Fowler and Brockers to play and Barron to play at higher levels, he's got Donald playing at a higher level than he was before, right? I mean,
probably. I mean, statistically,
relative,
like
right?
it's all relative. Yeah, like I'm not
from
going to
A to A plus.
Haley Berry is prettier today than yesterday. Okay, yes.
I'm not
all relative.
Yeah, Hallie, right? Halle Berry.
I call her Haley.
I'm not going to
When
give.
she and I talk, it's
Okay.
Haley.
Okay.
I'm not letting y'all take this into the ditch. This is important.
I talked to Haley yesterday.
Okay.
Charles.
Have you ever seen the memes? Have you ever seen like the memes or the posts on the internet where it's like, look at this sandwich that this sandwich shop tried to sell me, and it looks like amazing on the outside, and the bread's perfect, and it's risen up, and like the meat is just, it looks great,
Juicy and succulent.
Yeah, and then you lift it up and look at it, and like it's mostly bread, like it's all just a show.
Yeah,
that's sort of how I feel about this defense, and I'm not saying they're not actually good because they are. My point is great, in the middle. Like the top and the bottom are great, and the is in the middle. That's really because what I'm saying is the line is disgusting. The secondary is really talented. I'm not impressed by anything in between. And that I think that's why you see the Rams have the results they have. So, all right, we went over the personnel.
And can I throw this in? That actually makes a lot of sense from the standpoint of I went back and watched the game they played against the Seahawks, and you saw the Seahawks running game gashing them. And really all season, they've had some games where they've gotten gashed in the running game, and I think it's because of that. I think it's because that those linebackers they don't always get off blocks, they don't always fill gaps, and so it creates these holes that running backs have been able to exploit at times.
I did you one better. I went back and looked at all of their games that they played against run offenses that finished in the top half of the league.
Okay.
They played 9 teams that finished in the top half of the league. They gave up an average of 148 rushing yards per game, which is 30 yards more than their average. 5.5 yards per carry, which is a half yard more than their average. So they're doing even worse, as you would expect, against the top running offenses in the league. Against teams that finished in the top 10, which that's only 3. They played Seattle, the number 1 rushing offense, twice, and the Saints, the number 6 rushing offense, once. 100 carries for 600 yards in 3 games. They gave up an average of 6 yards per carry, 8 yards per carry, and 4.1 yards per carry in those games. And it's not their front. It's not. Like Aaron Donald, I wrote this down too. He leads the league in like run stuffs, meaning like, a run that goes for a negative or 0 yards. Like he's great. Sue's great. Brockers is really underrated. Like they do their job, but if you get past them, it's real yucky. And that's where I think the Cowboys have the chance to have a lot of success. Like, I mean, Corey Littleton made the Pro Bowl. I don't care. Mark Barron's a top 10 pick. I don't care. Like, the Cowboys should be able to bully these guys. And if they can't, I don't know what's going on because they did it against Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. So I'm not buying it. Which I mean, I think Zach Martin said it yesterday. It's a great point. Is like you look at these stats. He's like, cool. It's not just because the numbers say it's that easy. It's not easy. Like you got to execute, but you trust this running offense to be able to do that. I would think. So that's really where it all starts for me. Obviously, is running the ball.
Can I ask you a question about their third down? Do you know about that?
Well, which aspect of it?
Third and one. Are like short yardage? Are they good there?
Short yardage again. Yes, like they can because this line is really good at stopping those types of things. It just depends on what they want to throw out there.
The reason why I ask that is that sometimes you say stats can be deceiving. If you've got a team with some beef up in the middle there like that, it's hard to just 3rd and 1 to just say I'm going to do that. Those are the type of plays that bring an average down anyway. So why is their average at 5 yards? Now that's the worst in the league. I get it, but if there's the teams that aren't really trying to test them on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, those are the type of plays that you're like, well, we're not even going to try it. That's the reason that their average is going to be higher than you would think. You know what I mean? I don't know that.
That's a good point.
I don't know if they're 3rd and short, 4th and short, if they're really good or bad.
I don't have those numbers on hand. I will say this. Their numbers up the middle are far better than the rest of their numbers. Meaning, and I will give credit where it's due. I borrowed these stats directly from John Owning, who does tape work for the Dallas Morning News. He's great at it. If you're not, you should definitely go check that out. 3.3 yards per carry going at the right guard. This is their defense, so they allow.
So if you go at their right guard, if you go at your right guard, 3.3 yards. Okay.
Yes, 4.1 on the left guard. So in the mid, and again, that's where their best players are. That makes sense. It's when you take it outside, 5.2 yards per carry at left tackle, 5.7 yards per carry at right tackle, and if you go off the end, it's 5.6 and 5.2, which that's
about linebackers.
Absolutely. Like Jalen and Leighton, how good are they at pursuing across the field side to side?
Right, and they
don't have guys that can do that. So if you test the teeth of this line, it'll probably go pretty poorly for you. But the rest of their personnel allows you to take advantage of that, in my opinion. And that's where it starts with me, because you should be able to take advantage of that. Because, again, okay, you wanted to talk about their secondary. I think that's a case where stats can be deceiving. Because, again, you're talking about a team that's had big leads for most of the season. Teams have to pass against them. They're still 14th.
And Aqib has missed a lot of the year.
And Aqib Talib has missed a lot of the year. Marcus Peters, you could make the argument like when he was the guy, maybe he didn't live up to his billing, but Talib is back, so that's kind of irrelevant in my eyes anyway. It's classic Wade Phillips. Like, they just do their thing. They play. Those guys play head up on guys. They press them.
Single safety high a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they trust their personnel. I would hope so. They traded for Talib. They traded for Peters. Like, that's why they got him. Right?
And it's a smart move when you have a defensive front like they do to go out and get corners that can really just man up on the outside, and then you can try to get some pressure and hope that you get more pressure before they can get free.
Which I don't have this on hand, but the narrative is that, which it is interesting. Amari Cooper used to be in the AFC West. He's spent a lot of time playing against Talib and Peters
on other teams,
right? And so. The narrative is that he's fared far better against Peters than he did against Talib, which I believe
a lot of people do.
The insane game that he had, if you remember last year, I think it was a Thursday night game, Chiefs Raiders. Cooper put up like 220 or something on the. He had a dope game, and he did a lot of that against Marcus Peters. So that's probably where that's coming from.
You think they at all this season? Do they travel Talib?
It's what it always is like more often than not, those guys handle their side of the defense. But I think they probably would. If they feel like Talib is going to be better against Cooper, I think they would make that adjustment.
But that does go back to the question we got from a fan, I think it was yesterday, where they were asking, would you put Cooper in the slot? My thought is, if you got a situation like that, I'd move him around a lot and force them to always adjust to wherever I'm going to put him. And if they wanted to start traveling Aqib Talib, then that means, as we've talked about before, that means everybody else now has to travel because they can't just stay on the side that they're accustomed to. But I'd personally test them. If you feel like that's the guy that's clearly the best of what they do, I wouldn't let them easily be able to just line up against my best receiver.
If he's able to do it. I mean, yes, he's a really good receiver, but, I mean, he hasn't been here for a whole offseason and all that. Sometimes they get him to do the things that he needs to do. Just because he goes inside, that doesn't mean that he's going to be effective there. And if Beasley's, like we said yesterday, if Beasley's on the outside, I don't know if I like that. So it's like, how worth
It'll be Noah
it is
Brown.
it? Well, okay.
That'd make you feel any better.
Whatever.
That can lead you can take this like down a road where you're like, oh, well, the coaches are bad, which, I mean, that's, most people think that anyway. That's fine. Which I guess my point, though, is this is not a team that seems to just make drastic adjustments based on their opposition. Jalen Smith spied Russell Wilson last week, and that's a wrinkle that we don't always see. But, like, more often than not, I feel like the Cowboys are way more just about, like, if we execute the way we should, then we don't need to gadget it up.
But they have done special things when they play special opponents. Obviously, they did that with New Orleans. They did some different things defensively than they typically.
And I'm spitballing here, so I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. But like, have they done a lot of that on offense?
No, and your example was on defense as well. So
yeah,
that's a good point. That they have made more adjustments like that typically on defense when they've done it.
I struggle to think of a game where somebody on offense was just doing something way outside. I mean, Blake Jarwin.
Yeah,
he had that game against the Giants, but was he? Well, I mean, okay, they sent him up the seam more often.
They did some things in that game a little different.
It's true. But in terms of like Amari Cooper just suddenly playing 15 snaps in the slot, like, have we seen a lot of that this year?
We do what we do.
Yeah, no, and there's that. I don't agree with that. I think you need to adjust to suit your opposition, but I just don't. I don't think the Cowboys will do that.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know that they would. I'm just, I guess, going back to that question that the fan asked. I think it's something worth considering. Again, your point's valid, Nick. That if he can't do it, he can't do it. You don't just do something just cause. But if he can do it, if he has that capability, if he knows all the positions, I would move him around a little bit more. And again, I'm looking for opportunities. If I'm making those calls, I'm looking for opportunities to get my best players in the best positions possible, which means the more I can move him around and force the defense to have to identify where he is and try to get their guy on him, the better chance that I'm going to get a mismatch with my best player. And if I can get mismatches with my best player, they can make big plays.
If you've followed the league at all in the last 5 years, you don't need me to tell you that the secondary gets these DBs get takeaways. I mean, Peters has been insane since he got in the league. Talib picked sixth.
Was that 100 yards against the Cowboys?
Denver. Talib did that to Dak in week 2 last year. Yeah, these guys, they're good. Neither one of them has had that type of season this year. Talib missed a lot of it. I think Peters has 3, and I think Talib has somewhere between 1 and 3. Not a high number, but they obviously both can do it. The thing that scares me, and I put this on Twitter last night, is they have 14 forced fumbles as a team, 12 recovered. It's third in the league. 9 of those have come from their defensive linemen, which it shouldn't surprise you. They're good at getting pressure, but they have shown a knack for getting the ball in the pocket, getting it from the quarterback. We know Dak Prescott has had a problem with that. They have 8 fumble recoveries just as a line. So Donald, Brockers, those guys, 8, which is more than half the teams in the league have, period. Wow. To his credit, Dak has been better. He's been better probably the last 3 games with the ball security, but just don't let up now because that's something that worries me.
Yeah, part of that is that Donald just gets such great penetration throughout the game. He's a guy that can wreck a game from the defensive tackle position. And when you're getting upfield so quick, sometimes the quarterback doesn't have a chance to adjust. He's trying to get rid of the ball, and then he grabs an arm and bam, ball's out. I mean, how many times you see him, Khalil Mack, those really great defensive players do that? And I think it's because they just get back on the quarterback so quickly. The quarterback doesn't even really recognize that they're in arm's reach to be able to make that kind of play.
And just in case you were curious, Zach Martin actually, so I think every other week I've talked about how somebody can wreck a game. I say that all the time. Zach Martin said that about Donald. Yet he was like, this guy can wreck everything on his own, which carries more weight coming from him than me.
Yeah.
He also And it's not a Connor Williams thing. Like, he just likes to rush over the left guard. Yeah. He's a 3-tech. He's going to line up right off the guard's outside shoulder, and he just likes the left side for whatever reason. So have fun.
And
Connor,
I'll tell you this too,
or Xavier.
You talk about Aaron Donald, and Sue obviously hasn't been the greatest player since he's been there with them this year. But I'll tell you, one of the best games I ever saw a defensive tackle play was in college when he was playing for Nebraska and he played against Texas. And talk about wrecking a game.
Should have won the Heisman that year.
Talk about wrecking a game from the defensive tackle position. I mean, every single play almost he was in the backfield. Texas was trying to double him. They were trying to triple. Like, they had no answers whatsoever. I mean, this guy, and he's the kind of guy that even though he might not have had a great season, on a given day, he can show up and probably turn that on and have that kind of day if given the opportunity.
This
right?
is, I always hesitate to say these types of things about players, but it's always seemed like with Sue, he's not that like relentless motor guy like an Aaron Donald or a DeMarcus Lawrence where it's just always on. Like I think he picks and chooses his spots, but if it's 3rd and 4 and the game's on the line in the playoffs, like, you're probably going to get that Sue. Like, people, it's a great play and it's football. It's not a big deal, but the famous, the Romo to Witten 4th down, the one Garrett diagram and Witten retired that helped them win the Lions game. Ronald Leary had to basically hug Sue and bring him to the ground to keep him from sacking Romo. Like, it was one of the most blatant holds I've seen in forever. Yeah. And that's the type of stuff you have to do to beat him. Yeah. He's not. They've
got some talent. There's no doubt they got talent. It just hasn't always shown up for them this year, and so we'll see how that helps, and we'll see how much the Cowboys' offense can affect that too. Because this offensive line, I think, played really well last week. We'll see how much they can pull some more of that against what is a really, really good front, probably a better front.
I mean, I think one of the reasons why Aaron Donald is probably getting so many sacks is just the mindset of the defense to go rush the quarterback, get there. And, when you hit home, that's great. But when they pop a draw right in between both of them, then that's what's leading to some of these bigger runs. So I think that, just the mindset of all those guys, I got to get sacks, I get up the field, that's fine. But if you're not in the right spot, then that's when you're going to get, be vulnerable to a run.
Of the 9 games they played against teams in the top half of the league in rushing offense, they only held 2 of them below 100 yards. They held Denver to 60. Denver's 12th. They held Kansas.
They got a pretty good running game.
Yeah, no, decent. And they held Kansas City to 98. Kansas.
Was that what point of the season was that?
That was the 54 to 51.
Oh, okay.
Whatever, November. I don't remember the exact date.
Playing in the game is what you're asking.
Yeah, he was
playing in the game. Yeah,
he was playing. But also, I mean, the Chiefs have other things in mind than running the ball.
Oh yeah, and they were doing it well.
And they're ranked 16th, so they are the last possible spot that I considered for this. So, Seattle 190, Seattle 273, New Orleans 141, Chargers 141, San Francisco 127, San Francisco 107, Chicago 194. I'd be very surprised if the Cowboys can't successfully run the ball, and
at least to the 140 range, right?
Yeah, I mean,
at least
they did 189 on them at AT&T, and obviously, this is not a recipe for success necessarily.
True.
Seattle ran for 273 and 190 and lost both of those games, but it was a 2-point loss and a 5-point loss that came in the final minutes. So it will give you a chance to be successful if you can do it, I think.
Yeah.
So they ran for 189 in week 4 last year. Alfred Morris had the 75-yard run. Did you finally see the Allen Hearns injury?
I tried.
Yeah. They're just holding on it. This is the actual game broadcast, I think. So
yeah. Okay.
I looked over and
if you're listening, when you have TVs in the studio and like Derek and Nick just both like jumped out of their seats in agony.
That just
I haven't really seen that play, and so
you have now.
It was happening.
All right.
Go
ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I mean, this defense is much better than the stats say they are, I think. And it's full of guys who have been here and done that. I mean, Talib obviously is the big one. But Sue's been in the playoffs. Donald played a playoff game last year. Peters with the Chiefs, like they're not new to this, at least not all of them. So,
yep. All right, let's go ahead and take our final break. We'll come back and let's get some questions. 888-855-2297 is our number. Again, it is 888-855-2297. You can also hit us on Twitter at Cowboys Break. This is The Break.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox, the makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crock pot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True, they even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to The Break.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of The Break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Nick, tell us about Tommy John.
Well, I've been singing their praises really all year. I think you would say, I've kind of been the president of the fan club, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of up there.
You guys are vice presidents?
Yeah.
Cabinet?
Why do we have to be vice? Why can't we just be president?
Because you don't do the read. I do the read.
Okay, good.
And, I don't know. TommyJohn.com. That's /Cowboys. That's where you're going to get 20% off your first order.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to be able to really tell how good it is on the website, though.
No.
You really got to experience it for yourself.
You're right.
Men's and women's, they have the best thing you have. And also, very underrated, they have T-shirts, socks. Everything is good and soft there.
Yeah. So if for all you guys that may have gotten like gift cards, like Visa gift cards or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Christmas. Now you can go and put it on something that actually matters.
That's a really good idea.
Really turn around later and be like, that was a great.
I got a Visa or MasterCard gift card or whatever for Christmas, and I don't know what to spend it on. So
Tommy John.
Good point.
Tommy John. All right. Let's get back into it. We're going to take some calls. The number's 888-855-2297. Again, 888-855-2297. Let's get a call from Ray in San Diego. Ray, what up?
How you guys doing?
You coming up, right?
I hope, man. Those tickets.
Come on, man.
Jumped in price.
Hey, even if you don't get a ticket, it's like 90 minutes. Just come be part of the atmosphere.
I probably will. Probably will, depending on the weather.
I will say this. I heard that there's like this big tailgate that's going to be going on for Cowboys fans. Like this, I want to say it's like 10 or 20 different fan clubs that are all kind of coming together. I might even dip out there, but if you're coming up, there will be Cowboys fans hanging out there.
You're not doing that.
You're
not doing
I might dip out there. I might.
I meet you guys every time you guys come to San Diego. I've met you and Nick every last time, so I might.
All right. Make the trip up, man. It'd be good to see you.
I probably will. But real quick, I want to get you guys' take on this. How do you guys feel in this game about comeback routes, those little quick hitches? Because as I look at Talib and Peters, they sit on these comeback routes, and over the last couple of weeks, Dak has been late on those comeback routes. I've seen DBs drop the ball, and I don't think this team is going to drop the ball.
I agree with that, yeah.
Just like Talib took that one for 100 yards, that was a comeback route. And it's like every time we get against a team where these DBs sit on those routes, they got a good D-line, Denver, just like the Rams do, and these DBs are not. They're sitting on it. So I'm thinking more crossing routes, a little something different this week. I just wanted to get you guys' take on those routes.
It's great. I think that's an astute point. What do you guys think?
You talk. Hey, all credit in the world to Dak Prescott. He's played great, but like, you forget about those things when you're winning, and when the DBs are dropping the ball. But he's left some out there, and it's been a talking point all year. Like, it's so stupid how often it's like 3rd and 8, so they run 8-yard comebacks to the sticks. Like, it's the most predictable thing in the world. So yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Like that Redskin game where Michael Gallup scored his first touchdown. It was one of those stop and go. I mean, you're gonna have to do that. And it reminds me of the time they played the Rams up in St. Louis. I guess it was 2014, where Janoris Jenkins had an interception early in the game for a touchdown. He jumped in a slant and then later in the game, and they did a stop and go. And I don't think Des Bryant's ever been as wide open as he was, because you have to, make him pay for doing those things. So that's what I hope. You're right. I hope the Cowboys will make them pay for that. They're going to sit on that. You're going to have to. Hopefully, you block them long enough to do a stop and go.
This is totally anecdotal. I have nothing to back it up, but I just feel like this team runs crossing routes like less than everybody else in the league.
Yeah,
just deep crossers, shallow crossers. I know. Dak actually threw a pick on a route like that. He was looking for Amari in the end zone against
Tennessee.
No, was it Tennessee or
I don't know.
I think it was Philly. It was the first Philly or the second Philly.
Oh,
game.
yeah. And it overthrew.
But it was there.
Yeah.
It was there, and it was just it was a missed throw, missed route, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'd love to see more of that, but I'm not optimistic.
Let's take a call from Gio in Jersey City. Gio, what up? Gio, are you there? Guess not. All right. Do we have any questions over there? Let's get a question from Twitter.
Did you guys get a chance to watch back then the LA Rams versus Eagle game?
Yeah. I watched. It was a Sunday Night Football. Yeah. I watched it. That's the main game I watched when I was watching tape. So. Well,
someone is asking and wanting to know what were some of the things that the Eagles were able to do defensively to beat the Rams.
Oh, damn.
Do you remember that?
Well, I was hoping you were going to ask about the Rams defense, because I'll tell you, they used a lot of play action to beat them in that game. That's what they did. And they ran the ball well, which is part of it.
Gurley didn't play the full game, did he? Am I thinking about the right game? I thought that was that the game where he came out, they pulled him out?
I believe he didn't have a good game in that game. And I want to say he did play the full game. I think it's because he left.
They got his face. Goff. That's what they were doing. They were they applied the pressure. I mean, I know that off the edge they were, and if I remember correctly, there was at least 2 or 3 passes deflected. I mean, they were getting in his face and in those throwing lanes. So they were just aggressive, and that defense is starting to come on. Philadelphia's, that group.
I don't know if I said that yesterday here or on Cover 4, but I'm fascinated. The line on Goff is definitely that if you get to him, he can't handle it. And Garrett said yesterday that was the thing that impressed him the most, is that he was so good at throwing it under pressure when he was at Cal. So both of those things can't be true, right? I mean,
well, he said at Cal.
Well, you're right. But so he magically got worse at such a difficult thing to do as he got to the pros?
No, I think he can get worse at that if you're facing now 300-pound grown men, as opposed to 300-pound, young men.
If you display that ability in the Pac-12, I would feel like it would carry over. Maybe not.
Maybe. I know. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks get into the NFL and they get those big eyes. Like, holy crap!
I just feel like
whoever coming at me, right?
The thumbprint, like you go on Twitter, you see it it's like if you get to Goff, you just get to Goff and it's all over. So I want to see if that's true, because I think the Cowboys will get to him at least. I mean, he's not going to be clean. They might not sack him 6 times.
One thing I think I feel pretty confident is that Gurley is what makes that thing go. And so in that game, particularly when Gurley's not at full blast, when he's not out there, when his knee is bothering him, whatever the case is, I think that matters, because I think that offense really revolves. And it's no different than the Cowboys offense. I think the Cowboys offense in a lot of respects revolves around what Zeke provides.
We didn't talk about this yesterday, but it's worth mentioning. C.J. Anderson's a better fallback than Rod Smith is. He's played really well these last 2 weeks. Murdered Dallas in Denver last year. So just saying. They got options if Gurley's not at.
Okay, so Gurley yesterday on the practice report with the knee still limited.
Yeah.
Still kind of just. I don't know. How do you feel about this? I don't know what to feel.
He's playing. No doubt
yes,
he's playing.
Yes.
And he's gonna play well. He's gonna play well. I'm just saying that I think if you want to compare, it's hard to compare that Eagles game and say what did they do. The thing they didn't have to do was stop Gurley, and that's the part that is to me the hardest thing to do when you're playing that offense. Yeah. So it's just hard to me to get a good comparison when you're playing when it was the Eagles game versus any other game where he was playing.
Obviously, clearly that has something to do with the fact that they won that game, and it changes the whole game when he's in the field and when he's not. But I don't know. We'll see this weekend.
He's playing. I'm with Nick. There's no way he's missing this game.
At this time of the year, yes, of course he's going to play. But how well is he going to play? That's the question.
True. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We're back tomorrow. We'll give you guys our picks. Friday we'll be traveling, so tomorrow will be our last show of the week. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?